All right, guys. Well, let's start off with the cheers right here. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers, gentlemen.
We are here at the Golden Pineapple on Mill Avenue, right? The cool part of Mill Avenue, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Not down the street. Where
they put up like a elderly people's home over there, right?
Where
Isn't that what that high rise was?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what I was
across the
gonna
street
say.
from Shady Park.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and they're
it
getting all
almost
sorts
seems
of...
it almost seems too ridiculous to be true. Like they put the old
Seriously.
people's home. He's like, what? Oh,
They're in the
they did.
process of, I'm pretty sure, suing Shady Park, and there's this whole thing just going down right now.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Dang.
It really is. It sounds like a comedy movie, right? Like
Yeah.
build a high rise for elderly people, which already is counterintuitive.
Sure.
In the middle of a college town, next to a place that puts on shows, and then they have an epic
Called
battle.
Shady
for-
Park.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's already Shady Park is like, wait, what is that? Is that a good thing or bad
Yeah.
thing? It's a good thing. We've gone there. It's a good spot.
Shady
It's a
Park's
very
awesome.
good spot. Yeah.
They have a fund, by the way, their legal fund
Oh, really?
that people.
Do you know
can-
the name of it?
No, I think it's on their Facebook page. Though.
Okay, Shady Park. Thank you so much. Man, we covered a lot of stuff in that first 2 minutes, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, if you want to fight for Shady Park's right to play music, check out their website.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's like it's like a TV show, right? Old people are saying, "Turn the music down."
Yeah.
And there's kids on the skateboards. So,
What is this beer we're drinking?
oh yeah, guys. So cheers. We're joined by Justin and Tony of multiple fames, but I brought you guys Triple Nelson. This is a Triple Nelson IPA that I did with Front Porch. So 10%, 10.1%. Have you tried it yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
awesome. It's
It's-
great.
It's really good.
And the can art is amazing.
Isn't that pretty sweet? So I had to kind of explain it to people. 'Cause people so, and actually the name works out pretty well because they're like, what is the third arm, right? Because he got me in the full Nelson. There, people are like, what's the third arm? I'm like, Triple Nelson, right? And my wife drinks some of it. And she's like, that's too strong for me. I'm like, Triple Nelson, right?
You need to do a Triple Nelson shirt.
I know. I agree. So So the most important thing always, right, is the liquid in the can. So not only is it a cool name and a cool beer, but or a cool label, but they Trevor and Randy at Front Porch killed it with this beer. So,
Definitely.
Yes, they did. That's really good.
Yeah. So enjoy, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you guys always impress me with the beer selection at your spot, so I had to, impress you. Say, I got something that you don't have.
Impressed.
So, dudes, thanks for having us in.
Yeah, thanks for thinking of us.
Absolutely. So, Golden Pineapple, but this wasn't the start of this whole thing, though, right? Where did it all start? We'll start with Justin, because I know you and I from the same home state, Ohio.
Ohio, baby. Yep.
So, for people that haven't listened and heard your story, you grew up in Ohio. Were you owning restaurants and beer stores there?
Nope.
No?
Just working in the industry.
Okay.
I moved from Ohio when I was 20. And I worked for a little pizza spot in Upper Sandusky, Ohio, which is where I'm from.
Okay.
It's called East of Chicago. It's a chain. It's a franchise pizza restaurant.
Still in operation, right?
Yeah.
Seen
yeah,
them. There was
yes.
one on over by Arrowhead or something like that.
No.
No. All right.
Because they're only east of Chicago.
Old Chicago. I was thinking Old Chicago. Okay. Son of a bitch. It's right in the name.
But yeah, I worked for this little pizza restaurant for 5 years. I did everything. That's where I learned the industry. That's where I grew love for the industry and
I was going to ask if you fell in love with the industry.
Oh,
what was
yeah.
it about it? Like,
Yeah.
what made you fall in love?
the money, the hectic nature of running around, and
Yeah.
probably some of my busiest days in this industry were in that little pizza restaurant.
Still to this day, after owning
Yeah.
over
yeah.
like half a dozen places.
I think about building pizzas on Halloween. Halloween is traditionally the busiest night in the pizza industry.
Yeah.
Just slinging pizzas, making probably hundreds of pizzas in a night. That was awesome. I
Yeah.
had so much fun delivering pizza, making $100. When I was
Yeah,
in
yeah.
high school, it was so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah.
On the snowy nights, delivering pizza when I shouldn't have been. It's good stuff.
When you shouldn't have been, as far as like safety of driving on those roads.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
yeah.
might be the most glowing review of working in a pizza restaurant I've ever heard before. One might think you're hired by the international pizza industry to get people in there.
I love pizza. in that industry. It's weird that Tony and I still haven't done.
I was just gonna ask, like, why is there no pizza?
It's
concepts
gonna happen.
Here? Yeah, okay.
I guarantee
okay.
it. At some point, it's gonna happen.
Happy Valley area would be ideal.
I was
I'm thinking
talking to my wife
Scottsdale.
about
Yeah?
Happy Valley.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, it's growing up there. Like that's where I live, and that's where I want all the cool stuff to be. So
No, you got to come to my neighborhood for that same reason. Yeah.
You know, Bourbon and Bones is opening their third location up in Happy Valley.
oh really?
Yeah,
Okay. Wow,
in,
I did not
like,
know that.
Northwest Happy Valley.
Nice.
They did some research, but that area has always been fantastic. It's a great area. It's beautiful too.
We need pizza. So, right.
Yeah. So from there, you know, I was living in a small town that I always wanted to be away from an adventure standpoint. My town spanned 3 square miles, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's farmland everywhere else
Yeah.
outside of that. So I wanted to move somewhere warm and get away from that small town vibe. So it was between Phoenix or Miami, and I landed in Phoenix.
Because of what? Like what made those the two options?
They were the
Sunshine?
warmest places year round that I
Just based on that
I
solely.
could find, and I'm
Almost
very
opposite.
happy. After visiting Miami, after living in Phoenix, I'm very happy that I landed on Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just always, every day I drive in this city, it's like, this is my city. I love this place, you know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, you know, I had a plan to go to school and continue to work in the pizza industry. And I made, 20 phone calls. Small town guy having not a clue.
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna call people, submitted some resumes, and I landed on the spot called Z Pizza. Do you guys
Okay.
remember Z Pizza?
No.
Sounds familiar. Where was it?
You've been there, right?
I don't think I have.
No?
No.
It's a franchise pizza restaurant
Okay.
that was based in Laguna Beach. And at one point there were, I think, 5 in the Phoenix area.
Okay.
But I got a call from this guy, or it was from the wife, actually. And she's like, I see that you want to move here from Ohio, and we have a position open. Did a phone interview, moved here April 11th, 2010.
Okay.
Started April 12th, 2010.
Nice.
It was super cool.
Doing what? What was it? I don't know if you did. You say the position? Like
I did a little bit of everything.
Okay,
I
okay.
was working the line, working the counter, because it's a counter service restaurant.
Okay.
I did food prep, everything. I delivered pizza.
as we know now, is one of your favorite things, right?
Yeah.
If I could deliver pizza, if we open a pizza restaurant, I'm going to deliver pizza. So I worked. They had a location in Paradise Valley on Thunderbird and Tatum.
Okay. Okay.
So I worked there.
I lived there at that time. Like in 2000, like from basically 2008 until 2015, I lived at Tatum and Shea.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So it's the southeast corner of the road. You know
Okay.
that strip mall
Yeah.
over there?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like the East Wind Sushi. That's
Yeah.
always been there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in the Z Pizza location,
Okay. Okay.
but it was right next to that jewelry store.
yeah. Ah, no way. That's crazy.
Super cool.
Yeah. I probably threw stuff at your window at your restaurant. When
Yeah.
Nah.
He
So
might
I-
have delivered a pizza to you once
Yeah.
Maybe.
You never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Dang.
with a smile on his
With a
face.
smile on his face. That smile. I remembered. It just took me back to 2010.
Oh my god, I'm really nostalgic right now too, or feeling nostalgic. So I worked there, and they had a location in downtown Phoenix as well. It was on First Ave and Monroe. Tony and I actually ate lunch right next to where the spot used to be.
Yeah.
At this new sushi restaurant downtown. It was awesome, but it really brought back some good memories. So between that, I was going to school at a college called Anthem College. It was on 16th Street in Indian School.
Okay.
It's a new school now, but I was going there to get my paralegal degree. I wanted to get my paralegal degree and become a lawyer, go to law school, all
Yeah.
that fun stuff. I got my degree, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay in this industry.
Yeah.
So I was still working at Z Pizza, working at NYPD Pizza up in North Scottsdale, delivering pizza
Yeah.
to all the big homes up on the mountain up there.
Dude, you were 2-time in the pizza business, man. Like,
and I worked at Costco. So
yeah.
so then there was the conflict, right? I'm like, do I work the corporate job and go that route and make this a career? Or do I stay in the food and beverage industry?
Yeah.
I left NYPD, started working at the Z Pizza that was up in North Scottsdale, also delivering pizza to all the crazy homes. I loved that job up there. It was super chill. I ended up leaving after I graduated with my paralegal degree. I left the food and beverage industry for about 2 months and was really focusing on Costco. And I started working at Crust Pizzeria, which is in Ohio State, one of the Ohio State Game Watch locations up on Cave Creek in the 101.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Worked there serving tables.
Yeah.
And that's when I was really getting into beer. I was 21, 22, and my favorite spot in town was Oso, Arcadia, when it was just Oso.
Yeah.
I went in there, and I was eating and drinking, and I just asked the girl that was serving the table, I'm like, hey, are you guys looking for help? And then that's when it really began to snowball.
Okay. Got kind of serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was making awesome money.
Yeah.
I would, I was talking to my supervisors at Costco. I'm like, I made $1,000 in a week.
Yeah.
Which was, even in 2011 or 2012, that was crazy money to make in the industry for a week.
Sure.
And it was just, it would blow their minds. They're like, we need to go work in food and beverage. So I kept working at Costco for about 3 years, and I'm like, it's not for me. It's not my vibe. I learned a lot of valuable things in that industry and working for Costco.
Sure. Yeah.
I think everybody should work a corporate job in their life. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
At one point I worked in the pizza court or in the food court.
Yeah.
At Costco. That was pretty crazy.
Really?
Couldn't get away from the pizza.
Yeah. Which is one of my favorite pizzas. I love going in there, getting a $2 slice of pepperoni that's like this.
It's solid.
Right? You got to use 2 hands.
We would work on 100 pizza orders every weekend. It was crazy.
Just there's constant, like one out, one in, one out, like just constant.
It teaches you how to work with systems.
Sure.
And how to be organized.
Yeah.
And there's no other way around it if you're at Costco. It's like everything is organized.
Yeah.
You're not going to work in an unorganized environment, no matter how busy it is.
I'm
We
sure
would do
that's
$1 million
helps.
days up there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy.
And I'm sure that's helped immensely in this whole adventure too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because if you're anything like me, like there's nothing more that I wanted to get away from the corporate world. And the further I'm separated from it, the more I'm kind of bringing back some of the good things. Like, oh shit, having software that you can track all of your relationships with,
your entire life with.
Entire life,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because he'll ask me a question like, hey, something, this. I'm like, I have no idea. Let me look at my system.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I have a follow-up tomorrow, and I have, So these are the things that I always thought, like, fuck that. Like, when I'm gone from corporate work, like, I'm not notating everything, man. I'm not doing any of that shit. But now it's super valuable. Like,
Tony and I run our companies like that. Everything we miss here and there. That's the nature of the game.
Sure.
But we're very, very organized. And we're so particular about all the little things that we do. We have to be,
Yeah.
There's never not a time where we walk into a location and it's like, this needs to be turned this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to open the doors. We need to put out the sign.
Yeah.
Little things.
Well, I saw you were grabbing menus for guests coming in, right? You're just coming in for a podcast and you're helping people, get seated. I mean, that's it, right? Like, it's ownership.
That's the fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, going back to Oso, I worked there for a couple of years.
Everything. Once again, doing everything.
I just served tables over
Okay.
there.
Okay.
So, I worked under John Lane. He's definitely a mentor to me. And who doesn't love John?
Oh, for
He's
sure.
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
just a good dude and a great success story.
Yeah.
So I'm working there, and there's this beer and wine bar that opens up on Indian School on 36th and Indian School, between 36th and 38th. It's called the Pig's Meow.
Yeah.
So I'm going in there, just doing it, enjoying myself, loving this new little spot with the bar games and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
There was a Nintendo set up at one of the tables, so it was awesome.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. And like actual one where you got to like you change the cartridges
You
out.
blow,
Yeah.
you blow the cartridge, right?
Little slap on the sides.
Oh,
yeah.
working.
So it's just as a spot to just go hang out. Like is that what you're saying with the
Yeah,
Pig's Meow?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, that was 7 years ago, 8 years ago, around there. And little places like that were just unheard of. Whoever went to a craft beer bar other than Papago, you know?
Yeah.
And Hops on Birch and Flagstaff, right? Like those were some staple spots.
Yeah.
But I feel like this place kind of had a new flair, and the list were amazing.
Yeah.
The beer and wine selection was amazing. So I chatted with the lady who is bartending, and I'm like, hey, if you ever need help, I'd love to work in this spot. Same shit as always,
Yeah. Bothering people until they hire you, pretty much.
So no, I just I ease into it. I'm like, I just kind of put it out there, because you don't get it if you don't ask.
For sure. Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, it was only 3 people that worked there. And she's like, we're losing a couple of people. Can you come meet next week?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
So she proposes this just like wild deal. It's a profit share situation. And my wheels are turning.
And sorry to interrupt, but like I'm provoked. Like you weren't saying I need to own a piece of. This was like her pitch to you to come work here.
Correct. And Greg, who was the founder, he founded the original Whining Pig on 16th and Bethany, opened that location. He was there for the meeting. Super awkward guy. And they're pitching this to me. He didn't really talk much. She did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. This seems really too good to be true,
Right.
So then I consult with John. I'm sitting in the office at Oso Arcadia. I'm like, hey, John, I have this opportunity. Can you give me your advice or tell me what you think? And he said, do it. He's like, go for it.
Yeah.
So I left Oso and just dove into the Pig's Meow.
Yeah.
Within, I think, a month and a half, I was beer buying and wine buying. I think I started reverse. Kevin, who's sitting over there right now, the longest standing rep that I've worked with.
Oh, wow.
I've worked with him for almost 8 years.
He's doing a wine tasting right now.
He is.
This is
Yeah.
the wine tasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still order a ton of wine from him. He's a good dude. But it's cool to see him sitting at that table over there. But then I really, being the beer nerd, how I really got into it was going into Total Wine up in Desert Ridge every 2 weeks after I would get my paycheck on Friday from Costco, and I'd pick up 2 different 6-packs. I was really into European beers, the really traditional lagers and pilsners, German pilsners. Loved Hefeweizens. I loved the strong, astringent Belgian beers. And then I just started, I started getting into the darker beers, porters and stouts. Do you remember Tommy Knocker Brewing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was
Got a
distributed.
black IPA, I think. Yeah.
I got really into them.
Yeah.
Gordon Biersch, of all places.
Sure. Yeah.
If I could have a Gordon Biersch Hefeweizen right now, I would absolutely drink it.
Are they, because I feel like all the ones in Arizona shut down, right?
As far as, I don't know.
I don't think they
Yeah.
are.
It's going to be like Blockbuster, where there's the one store that's still
Yeah.
around.
Sure.
That's going to be.
The original Gordon
It's
beer.
like, and now
It's going to be in
people
some
travel.
airport somewhere too.
Yeah,
Just in the middle of nowhere.
I need to find it so I can
Anchorage
go.
Airport,
But it was that, and then Mellow Mushroom up in City North.
Okay.
You know Jenna?
Sure. Jenna.
A lot of people know Jenna. She was the beer buyer at the time.
I don't think
I think she did open the Mesa location, and she's back up in North Phoenix.
Okay.
She's been there since they opened that place.
Gotcha.
She would fucking give me an 11% stout in their fucking frosted mugs,
Yeah.
or their chalice. And I'm like, I had no clue at the time,
yeah.
but I was like, wow, this is an incredible beer.
Yeah.
But going back to Pig's Meow, I then had the opportunity to start beer buying. I remember Emily, who was doing it, a rep with, I think Golden Eagle at the time was a distributor, which is now Quail.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't remember. But they had Pugachev's Cobra available from
Hangar 24.
Yes. And Emily was going to pass it up. I'm like, no, bring on that beer.
Yeah.
We'll crush it. And then that's when I really made that turn to being, I was really going through the phase of beer snob and trying to find balance in that.
Yeah.
We would sell so much hams in old style there. The thing was, when a regular would come in, or Tony would come in, you open the back door, it goes to the alleyway, and you're gonna fucking chug a hams or old style. It's so much fun.
That's great.
So we were trying to cater to the beer heads, but also keep a little tradition with the Pilsner and the lagers.
Yeah.
And push that. It was so much fun. So then I got to the point where, I had to make the decision to leave and open my own business or move to California and open these locations with Greg, because he had moved to California. He opened a brewery called Little Miss Brewing. I helped him with that a little bit.
In California?
Yep.
Okay.
Helped interview and hire the lead brewer for that location. It was a ton of fun. But working with Greg just didn't satisfy the desire, to kind of do my own thing.
Sure.
And now is when I bring in the stories of two people, Tony and Shay.
Okay.
So Shay's my business partner at the Wandering Tortoise.
Yeah.
Shay was a regular at the Pig's Meow. He was the executive chef for LGO, and he was just exhausted. They were working on opening Buck and Ryder,
Okay.
which is, they do big numbers, and it was a huge build out. They built that building from the ground up on Camelback and 44th Street.
Yeah.
Lots of money invested into that place. And, I dreamt up this concept of the Wandering Tortoise and really focusing on the retail side of things as well. I had inspiration from traveling Portland, Denver, San Diego, a lot of awesome spots that I would see. I'm like, we should really do a little bit more of this, But I would talk to Shay about this concept, and one day, he had expressed interest in partnering up, but one day I was like, all right, dude, I'm gonna open this place in Gilbert, because it was always Gilbert or in my neighborhood in the area where Tortoise is right now.
Sure. Okay.
In the Loma Linda, western portion of Arcadia.
Okay.
And he's like, no, let's do this. And I was going to partner with 4 different people in Gilbert.
Yeah.
I don't know if I may have told you about that.
Tony's sitting there like, you've never told me any of
No,
this.
definitely some names come up.
That concept was going to be the box car, but I also had the Wandering Tortoise in the back pocket, and I wanted to. We were even looking at Epicenter next to Joe's Farm Grill 5.5 years ago, 6 years ago. It's crazy. But anyway, Shay's like, no, I want to do this. Next thing you know, we're partnering up, and we find a space on 28th in Indian School in the plaza next to Sprouts.
Okay.
And that fell through after a few months. There was a no-compete with Sprouts. They didn't like the retail aspect or the craft beer aspect. Then we were just scrambling, and we found the building that we're in right now. And fast forward, we're going to be 5 years old next month. It's wild.
Yeah.
We've expanded, within the first year. And Tortoise has that, it's like the OG status,
Absolutely.
We built something amazing there.
Yeah.
Back up a little bit, we're opening the Wandering Tortoise. I was a regular at Fate up in North Scottsdale. That's where Tony and I met, and that's where our relationship
Him and I as
began.
well.
Yeah. I remember that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, very
And
first
so-
picture ever on Tap.az.
Yeah, yeah.
This gentleman holding
Wearing
that.
I think I was wearing my candy bar milk stout.
You
shirt.
were.
Yeah.
You were giving me a growler of candy bar milk stout. I think you were doing one of these, and
I know that's
legendary. We need a
post
shirt.
that.
We need a shirt. We need a shirt of
Oh
that.
my
yeah.
God. You've been pushing for that for a few years. We
Yeah.
gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
So you understand, going in there as a guest and getting to chat with Tony and the guys up there. It was like family. You know?
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
always such a great little spot.
Yep.
And I started, after we started building the Wandering Tortoise, I started to spend a lot of time in there. I was in there 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And, I pitched to Tony. I'm like, hey, we're opening this spot. I would love to work with you. I think he was going to school at that time, and we had a lot of conversations, some late night conversations. Like, dude, come be a part of this, hang out with us. And he, for a little while after we opened, he worked the 2 jobs, and he had the itch. He's like, I want to, come over here full time, and I want to work with you on something else. At that time, there wasn't any opportunity for additional partnership or investment in Tortoise.
Yeah.
And I was always looking. Shay was like, I'm good with Space One, and I don't want to expand. And that's the nature of who I am. I'm always moving. I want to create and build and grow, and that's how it went.
Yeah.
I was contacted for the space in downtown Chandler, and it was an old auto repair shop. Just such a cool building. We posted on our On the House hospitality page the other day some old photos.
Oh, the progression of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, so I told Tony, I think we were working together one night at Tortoise. I'm like, hey, here's your chance, man. If you wanna be a part of this, let's do it. So then we find
Enter this gentleman.
the Sleepy Whale, and in that building, and then we just start going after it. That was, I still tell people to date, that was the most intense build out. It's easy opening a space in either, the turnkey space or something like Epicenter where everything's brand new.
Sure.
When you take over that old building, you never know what you're gonna uncover.
Especially like an auto shop.
Yeah.
Like, right? You pull a wall and there's just like a bunch of like oil like 60 feet into the ground. Like, what the hell?
Fortunately, they did all that work for us. They have to, just like Helton, they had to pull up all the lifts and from an environmental standpoint, they had to rid the space of the previous chemicals and the oil and all that fun
all
stuff.
right. So it's not like in the movies where they just abandon it and there's like a rat running across the floor with a truck still up there.
You like pull a brick out that's kind of loose, and there's like a guy back there with a treasure chest or something.
Oh my God. That's how the space felt for a little bit, for sure. And the oil shop that Gadzooks is in operated for, I think we had begun building.
Oh, yeah.
And they were still operating.
Yeah, they went until their last day, basically. They were...
Yeah.
Yes, they did. But anyway, while, we really wanted to be in the Southeast Valley, the itch was always Gilbert, but working at Tortoise, it was unbelievable how many guests we had from the Southeast Valley. A lot of people work in that Biltmore Fashion Square area, a lot of the desk jobs, and a lot of guys that love craft beer, making a stop before heading back home or coming to visit us when we're getting the crazy drops that we, to date, we still get.
Yeah.
But we wanted to be in the Southeast Valley. We also wanted to be in downtown Phoenix, specifically on Roosevelt Row.
Yeah.
I grew a huge love for downtown Phoenix when I worked down there. When I first moved here, it was just such a cool thing to experience. Downtown Columbus is not like downtown Phoenix.
No.
I mean,
no.
Phoenix isn't a huge place, and the downtown isn't that developed compared to most major downtown areas, but I loved it. Downtown in the desert,
Yeah.
So then we're building Sleepy Whale, and we get a call from our broker, Chris Osborne. He's like, hey, I have this space on Roosevelt Row. You guys need to come check it out. Just kept blowing them off. I'm like, we're focused on this project.
Yeah.
So, he's he's staying on it, and we finally go look at the space. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. You guys want to do this too?
While we're doing this,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. And we
What
ended
year
up
is this in?
2019.
Okay.
So we ended up opening Sleepy Whale in May of 2019, and we then opened Theodore in October of 2019. So Theodore was a little rushed. You know, we didn't have as much time to really think about, you know, the name, the development of the space.
Whereas Sleepy, you did have more of a like kind of.
We had too much time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, at one point, after tearing down the building next to us, we were standing on 2 walls at that building. So it was major development. So we're trying to figure out a name for Theodore, and Roosevelt was very inspiring, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that the road is named after Theodore Roosevelt. We didn't even know.
Yeah.
But we couldn't fuck that up.
Yeah.
You know? And if you research Theodore Roosevelt, he's really inspiring. So it was a perfect fit.
Yeah.
I need to speed it up so Tony can talk.
No, you're good,
But-
man. You're good. He's building up. He's taking notes right now.
I was like, yeah, I did this and this. Okay, here I am.
I did all that stuff too.
Theodore was a fun space because when we did have time to start building and thinking about what we wanted to do there, we wanted to, you know, really cater to the downtown area and the progressiveness of downtown. Bring cool beer downtown. Our retail fridge is bigger than the other locations because we anticipated the population growth.
So that's the biggest, like, of all your spots?
Yep.
That's got the biggest?
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's 6 doors.
6, okay.
That cold box is huge.
Yeah.
You don't see half of it because half of it's in the office.
Sure. Okay.
But it's kind of a long-term thing for us because we knew that the development was moving. It was moving, but building a high-rise takes a little bit of time, you know?
Yeah.
And it was a brand new market for us. It was just wild. You think you love an area and know all about it until you start you build a business and you start working in it more. Delivering pizza in downtown Phoenix is not like owning a business in downtown Phoenix, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
Especially going through the phase and the development that it was going through. But as we continued to, we opened and we were growing down there, we just kept ticking away at the space, and we painted and we built furniture, we moved some furniture, started putting plants in the space,
I never thought I'd put a plant in the space. Yeah.
Well, Tony always drew.
I'm always about the plants.
Are you?
The more plants,
Very
the better.
important. Very
Yes.
important. I agree. I just don't know how to do it myself. So I'll be calling you for some advisement.
Right. But the space today, we're now 2 years old as of mid-October, but we just celebrated our 2nd anniversary
Theodore.
last weekend. Yeah.
Okay. Dang.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, for real.
But that space is so intimate and amazing.
Yeah.
We crush it. The team's awesome. Beer sells differently down there. What we sell well in Chandler sells differently in downtown Phoenix.
Yeah.
We sell a lot of Montucky cold snacks. in
Downtown?
downtown.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
A ton. At one point, we were ordering 10 cases a week. It was crazy.
Why? Why do you think that is? Just different crowd of people?
Sure.
I mean,
People like the Montucky.
Yeah.
Look at that
I
can.
don't hate it.
It's
I don't
appealing.
hate it. I know it is.
It's a great beer.
Yeah.
So then, we're doing the beer bar thing, and we are continuing to look for spaces with our broker who found the Sleepy Whale space for us.
Okay.
And we're looking in the West Valley. We're actually looking up in your neighborhood.
Okay. Nice. I like
And
that.
we didn't, there was one space we
Oh,
looked
there
at.
was. He was saying back. Could have
Yep.
been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. There was one space we looked at least for me, where my gut was like, oh my God, this building could be incredible. It was on like 87th or 92nd Street or Avenue, excuse me,
Okay.
in Camelback. Does that sound like it could be a major From the building, you could see the stadium, the Cardinal
wow.
Stadium.
Okay.
It's like
Really
2
cool.
miles northwest from there.
Yep. It was an old Circle K, and it was cool because the building faced northwest, not west. It had a huge parking lot, standalone building. Across the street was cornfields. Really just felt good, you know?
Yeah.
Across the street was the new Circle K. You know, they do that all the time.
Sure.
Where
yeah.
they abandon, but they also own the property and the building. So we start negotiating a deal, and they say, well, we are familiar with these guys. They take business away from our location on 24th and Indian School. And I think they were also talking about the one across from us in Chandler.
Sure.
So they said, we will sell you the building, with stipulation. You can't sell beer to go, and you can't have food trucks. So we're like, well, that's not going to work because that's part of that's what we do.
Yeah.
So our broker then found this building. He's like, how do you guys feel about Tempe? For me personally, it was the first neighborhood in town that I've been in where I was really unfamiliar with it.
Okay.
Tony lives in Tempe. You've lived in Tempe for a couple years?
Yeah, February of 2020.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So we look at this building, and it's our MO, right? Giant standalone building, huge parking lot.
Yeah.
Parking's everything for us, you
For
know?
sure.
And, you know, we negotiated a pretty good deal, so we thought. And, you know, we wanted to dabble into the food and cocktail side of things and really expand what we were doing in the industry. And we both come from a restaurant background. You know, we've worked in restaurants most of our working lives.
Okay.
So we wanted to go in that direction. And that entailed finding somebody to run those departments, right? Because we're the beer guys.
Sure. Yeah.
We're opening a restaurant with what we envision to be great cocktails.
Yeah.
So then we find Chef Dell, who was a regular at Tortoise, and I think Whale.
Yeah, he came
But
back
he,
around.
you know, he hung out with us, and he loved. We get a lot of chefs in the craft beer bars for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of crossover for sure. Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Heck yeah.
So we strike the conversation with him and, you know, get him on board to open up a restaurant with us. And then we find Adam Fout. He moved here from North Carolina. I think he's been here for maybe 2 years now.
Okay.
And he was working at Hidden House in Chandler and Wilderness in downtown Phoenix.
Yeah, that's where he looked familiar to me. I've seen him at Wilderness. Yeah.
So quite the spread, you know?
Yeah.
And we tell him what we're thinking, what we'd like to do, and then you go foggy-eyed after Adam starts talking because he's so intelligent, and he starts talking, and you're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It's awesome.
You just trust that he's like, yeah.
I mean, it's overwhelming his knowledge and his palate, you know.
Yeah.
And here we are. And he's building some of the best cocktails in Phoenix. And
These cocktails
in
were
my
fantastic.
opinion,
Yeah.
he's very, very talented.
What did we have? What did they make us? So
You
it's
had
gone,
the Oaxacan Old Fashioned,
which is mezcal.
Yep.
Old fashioned.
and then you had the pear bonding
Yes.
with the red wine float.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I drank this thing real quick.
Yeah, mine was delicious because it's like the perfect drink for this time of year.
Yeah.
It almost was like having a peach pie in a
Yep.
cocktail. It was delicious.
Which is one
Or
of the
pear
things-
pie, excuse me.
It's one of the things we do here. Is we like to rotate and add the seasonal items. We'll do the seasonal cocktail menus and then the seasonal food menus. The food menus we add 1 or 2 items, and then the cocktail menus will, half of the list could be seasonal.
Yeah.
We put 5 new fall cocktails on.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they're fucking awesome. Just
And a great beer selection.
unbelievable.
How
You
many
know it.
cocktails do you have at any given time?
At least 20.
Yeah, 15
Wow.
to 20, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the menu?
Yep.
Like on the menu, not like secret menu ones. Like
Yep.
right here. These are your. That's
Yep.
awesome.
And yes, there's a secret menu item here and there, and then we can do all the classics, pretty much anything.
Yeah.
But you gotta drink one of our cocktails.
For
you know?
sure. Yeah.
That's more cocktails than you typically find at most places. Like that's in probably the 95th percentile of cocktail availability, if you will.
I feel like with the cocktail specific bars
Sure.
in Phoenix, we're probably low.
Okay.
So you think about somewhere like Century Grand or Brickyard in downtown Chandler, and they have 30, 40,
Yeah, they got
a shit ton.
that new book, from Bobby.
Yeah.
At Brickyard. I mean, it's a whole experience.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But in comes the balance, right? Who are we trying to be as the Golden Pineapple? We're trying to be a balanced spot where nothing outshines the next thing. And that's been difficult, because we want to really get people in here to try our cocktails and experience our cocktails, but we want them to try the food. And then there's the beer that's kind of, it's a really good beer selection.
Yeah.
But we have great beer everywhere, We've been here for over a year now operating.
Okay.
We started during the pandemic selling cocktails and food to go.
Opened during the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we couldn't officially open until July of 2020. But we fast forward a year, we've become a really cool, trendy spot.
Yeah.
And we're kind of gathering our bearings still to this day, just trying to, balance the service side of things and the consistency and product. And it just gets better and better every month. This is a concept for us that we would like to do multiple of.
Multiple Golden Pineapples. Yeah.
And maybe not necessarily, that's not our MO either, right?
Sure.
Like we like to create unique locations. There's a lot of similarities, but like Theodore caters to downtown Phoenix.
Sure. Yeah.
That's perfect. We want to build to cater to where we are.
I like that.
Even
Yeah.
from a name standpoint,
Sure. Yeah.
So pandemic, we open a restaurant, and it's just absolutely crazy. Just trying to fight to survive. We are one of the thousands of stories. So we're operating, and we're scratching our heads like, where is everyone?
Yeah.
We can't survive with these sales,
Yeah.
and we were losing tens of thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah.
Funding this restaurant with our other locations, with our own personal money. Anything that we made went right back into Golden Pineapple because we believed in it,
Yeah. Yeah.
We're pretty grateful to be sitting here at this table and to be where we are today with the Golden Pineapple. One of our strategies to survive came out of nowhere. In comes Silver King Smokehouse and Saloon in Superior, Arizona. To most, when we announce that, it's like, what the hell are you guys doing?
They lost it.
Who's heard of Superior, Arizona? Who's been to Superior,
You got to go on a
Arizona?
map and see, like, all right, where is that exactly? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we love Superior, Arizona, and it's a beautiful place. It's one of the most beautiful places in Arizona. It's really amazing. My brother was living in Phoenix from Ohio for a few months. He was trying to relocate his family, and he moved out here temporarily by himself, tried to make it during a pandemic. He
Sure.
moved out here in March of 2020. Imagine
Oh,
that.
Man.
I need a new start.
But he's an electrician and a welder, so he was doing some work for us in the Golden Pineapple. And one of the guys, Alan, who was working on our fire suppression system.
Yeah.
Alan. He's funny. Nice guy. He had somebody contact him about taking on a job in Superior, Arizona. He couldn't take it, so he asked my brother if he wanted to drive out. So here you go. My brother Nate's driving to Superior, Arizona to work on this fire suppression system for this guy named Bill. And my brother Nate tells Bill, oh, my brother Justin would really like it out here. And he sent me some photos. I'm like, yes, I do love that shit. I love the small, like, Wild West feeling town.
Yeah.
So Bill gets my number and starts sending me photos and photos and photos of this turnkey space that he has. And I'm like, no way. Like, I'm sorry. And he seemed like such a nice guy.
Yeah.
So
He's trying to sell this restaurant. Yeah.
it was such a cool looking space.
Yeah.
So I finally connect with him. I'm like, I'm going to drive out. I have shit to do today, but I'm going to come out and I have 45 minutes. Meet with this guy. I'm talking to him for 2.5 hours because he's one of the most interesting people you'll ever meet in your life in the best possible way.
Yeah.
His name's Bill Holmquist, and he builds movie sets for a living. It's fucking awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So a lot of decorative pieces in Silver King are from movie sets that he's built. The doors that go to our patio, they're like a whitewashed, painted like floor to like 8 or 9 feet height. They're huge. Glass doors. Those were in the movie
Red Dragon.
Yeah, Red Dragon with Anthony Hopkins.
Really?
Yep. And then he
Hannibal
built
Lecter movie, right? Was that
yeah,
Hannibal?
yeah. He's done everything. Anything that
really
you can
cool.
imagine. Bill
Tombstone.
Yeah.
I mean, There Will Be Blood. Like, I mean, we have some stuff from
Rush
Buster
Hour.
Scruggs. Yeah, Rush Hour. I mean, he's got all sorts of
Wow.
That's awesome.
He's worked with everybody. The Rock, Mark Wahlberg,
Jackie Chan, Halle
J-Lo.
Berry.
Yeah.
So he had the spot and he just owned it and just wanted to kind of get rid of it.
So Superior, Arizona has some history in the filming industry. There's been several movies filmed in Superior, and I think Bill, he worked on a movie set 25 to 30 years ago in Superior and decided to buy property. I think he now owns 4 buildings in Superior.
3 or 4, yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
He owns our building, which has 3 different tenants. He owns the building across the street, a building with a diner in it, and then he owns
He has a house out there, yeah.
house, but also the space that Jenny's in.
Yes.
So he does own 4
4,
buildings in the house, whatever. So I'm talking to him, and I just fall in love with the space. I'm really into stuff like that. The saloon, that really traditional saloon feeling space, and we couldn't get enough of each other. So he takes me into his warehouse across the street. He's like, let me show you my building, you know? And he has all these posters and all these photos, these movie sets, the people that he's worked with. So here I go. I'm all excited. It's always the same fucking story, man. I call Tony. I'm like, hey, I want to throw this towards you, and you tell me what you think. And then I tell my wife, you know,
Yeah.
if
First Tony, then the wife.
yeah, I think yeah.
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 At least for this one.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know who's the harder sell at some points, but I'm like, can I show you guys this thing?
Yeah.
And we all drove out there together, right? Like within the next day or two.
Yeah, I think so. You had the whole fam.
Yeah. Yeah, all the babies screaming while
Yeah.
Uncle Tony's in the back. But we always had this thought of doing barbecue. Dell's really into barbecue. He had worked on a smoker up at Proof in the Four Seasons. That's where he learned how to cook on a smoker, smoke meats.
Okay.
I believe John from Little Miss Barbecue taught him how to run that smoker, Camelback smokers, right? Or he staged with him.
He might have, yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, it knows his shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
He definitely
Oh
bought
my
that
God.
smoker. They had a 250 gallon out there.
Yeah.
So that's the one he worked with from Camelback.
We decided we want to do barbecue.
Yeah. In Superior, Arizona.
Yep.
Yeah.
The name was fun. We did a lot of research. We wanted to have the name revolve around something with the history of Superior, whether it was the filming industry or the mining industry. One of the original mines out there, originally it was Silver Queen.
Okay.
That's what I proposed.
Yeah.
And Bill's like, I don't know how Silver Queen will roll off the tongue in Superior, Arizona.
Sure.
So we went with the mine after it was Silver Queen was named Silver King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fucking random,
Yeah.
you know? But we kind of sang it out loud. Silver Queen, Silver King. Silver King just fit.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I think if we felt better about Silver Queen, we would have stuck with it.
Yeah.
But Silver King felt really good.
Silver King looks like it could. It seems like it could be just one word. It
Yes.
doesn't really mean silver or king or silver queen. Seems like a silver queen.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
Let's
Yeah,
roll
just
with it.
everybody went along. They're like, yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah.
So we started spending some time out in Superior. We're like, we don't know about Superior, Arizona.
Yeah.
And it's a big tourist destination, especially with the seasonal visitors.
Okay.
Bikers love Superior. Main Street in Superior. If you guys have never been, you should go check it out. It's really cool.
I drove through. I think I drove through Wilderness had a Camp Cool Ship. Like at the there's a
The
Oak
just
Flats.
Oh, Oak Flats, yeah.
yeah. So it's super close, right?
yes.
I would have gone
20
through
minutes,
Superior.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's such a cool little place. A lot of historic buildings. Our building is one of those buildings where if it caught fire, it would burn down most of the historic Main Street. Yeah, nothing is sprinklered.
Yeah.
The town is going through a lot of development. We were the first space ever, or one of the first spaces ever, to apply for a building permit.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Because
I thought it was going to be something innovative, like we were the first ones with Wi-Fi. No, we were the first ones with the business permit.
Yeah.
we and whatever we do, whenever we build, we want to do things right and get in good with the locals. And it was an interesting process. We got an interim permit for our liquor license, which you're able to do when a bar or restaurant has the license in place before you.
Okay.
So as long as it's not a brand new license, you can apply for an interim permit while you go through the application process. Meaning, instead of waiting, 4 months to operate, you can operate in 1 week. They didn't know what an interim permit was. They thought we were trying to slide one by and serve alcohol. I'm like, no,
Interim permit.
we would rather not. We would mess with you over the liquor board any day, you know. But it was a lot of fun learning and working with people. A lot of amazing city officials in the city of Superior. Mayor Mila, she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's really changing that town. Bill as well. People who give a shit about that little town.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's
so
awesome, man.
that's what we have going on. I passed Hops on Birch.
Hops on, yes. We got to get Hops on Birch
Yeah.
yeah.
So before, and I'm gonna let Tony talk about Beer Barn so I can, he'll talk about the next one. But
Okay.
Hops on Birch, cool beer bar in Flagstaff, Arizona. It was there. It has been there since 2011. Because
Okay.
we will be celebrating 10 years of being open in March of 2022. So 2012. Excuse me.
Okay.
Kyle Merritt was the guy that owned it. I knew him for years. I was a guest there. I was one of those people that would go up to Flagstaff, hang out, stay the night. You start at Hops and you end at Hops.
Yeah.
And I saw this transition in the business over the years where, Kyle saw some success and it was one of the most badass beer bars in the state. And then it kind of tapered off, because his interest shifted elsewhere. He's now a pilot, and that's been his interest for several years. And Hops wasn't quite what it used to be. So I was approached by a couple of gentlemen. This was a few months before we opened Sleepy Whale. Like, hey, we were all mutual friends of Kyle. They're like, that Hops on Birch is for sale. Yeah. So we decided to partner up and take it over. We purchased it from Kyle, and that was the first year and a half up there was wild. Again, going into a market you think you know about, you don't have a fucking clue.
No.
No.
Well, what did you think? Like, what did you think you were going into?
I was the asshole that thought, you know what, Flagstaff is going to love this. They're going to love that we're bringing up some cool beers and we're switching up things. We're going to show you some quality guest service,
Yeah.
And they weren't about it. You have to get in with the crowd. You know what I mean?
That's what I've heard. Like, Flagstaff's a tough.
They were.
Yeah.
I was the outsider.
Yeah.
There was a term, I haven't heard it in quite some time, but they say don't Phoenix flag. And what I'm doing right now is being stereotypical because not everybody in Flagstaff is like that. It's really few people.
Sure.
And a lot of those people, oddly, are from Phoenix themselves. It's
Yeah.
weird. At least the people I experienced some negativity with. So it was a political thing, you know. Fortunately, I have, you know, some friends up there like Ryan Sandlin from Dark Sky.
Yeah.
I consulted with him and his wife Laramie a little bit, and I still do to this day, you know. And they give me the honest feedback. We've had our ups and downs in the last almost 3 years, and the spot that we are in today, almost 3 years into this, is amazing. A full remodel. Hops was kind of like Theodore in that sense, where we did what we could when we could.
Okay.
The feel in there today is incredible. I love that place.
I love that place too.
It's-
Every time we're up there, we hit that up. Yeah.
It
Throw
feels
darts to our
awesome.
arms hurt. You know.
Right? We're in such a good spot. Good with the locals.
Locals dig you now. They accepted you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Most of them.
Sure. Yeah. Can't win them all.
No. I mean, as always, if you're a good person and you do the right thing, that's all you can hope to do.
And you attract the people that you want to attract too, right? They're
absolutely.
yeah.
But that has been a fantastic business. I actually recently bought out my business partners up there a few months ago.
So that's you. Oh, you now.
Yep.
Nice.
And the goal is once I pay them off, Tony and I are going to partner in that business.
Excellent.
Not that it's funny because we say that, but the help that Tony has given to that business, whenever he goes to Flagstaff and he wants to stop by for a beer, he's working naturally anyway.
He's changing kegs and shit and mopping floors.
Dude, yes, absolutely. And that's kind of, you know, Tony and I have been partners for 3 years, you know, and it's been fantastic. We've grown in our partnership, and we have a very similar vision to kind of just continue doing fun stuff in our industry and seeing something that we feel like we can do really well and, you know, better in our opinions. We feel like, you know, you try something and you're like, I feel like I can do that a little bit better,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
But also, that's a lot of people in this state right now. How fucking cool is it to be a guest and a consumer in this industry today?
For sure.
Compared to 5 years ago?
Yeah.
It's incredible. And that's our thing too, man. We love, like when I see Jeff Krause sitting on the patio at Sleepy Whale, I'm like starstruck. Or Joe Johnston. Joe Johnston ate barbecue in our place yesterday with his wife.
At
Silver King.
Silver King. Wow.
And his wife is from Superior.
Okay. Yeah.
So
You guys are like creeping over the windows, like
dude,
watching.
I'm always, whenever I see Joe, I'm so starstruck. I'm like, Joe Johnston.
Yeah. That's awesome though. Yeah.
But it's been a fun ride. Real quick, I do want to touch on our umbrella company. We decided on the name On the House Hospitality. I feel like it just goes hand in hand with how Tony and I run our businesses and how we work with our team of people. You know, we have this thing in our businesses where we always correct and push the phrase, we work with you. You don't work for us. We work with you. We work together.
Yeah.
And we feel like when you're on that level with the people you work with, you get it a little bit more. You know, we want to break up that, like the thought of those norms in the industry, you know, that there's this separation of front of house, back of house, that you can't just call up the guy or the guys that own the business.
Yeah. There's that you have to go through this person to get to this person.
We absolutely do not believe in that. Chain of command is bullshit. I mean, for most things, if somebody's like, we still fuck ourselves on this, but Tony was fixing a sink in the kitchen the other day. But it's a morale thing, you know? When somebody's like, hey, this sink is broke, it's broke, and one of the owners comes in and fix it, that's cool to me.
Yeah.
I'm working in the office and he's fixing the sink, you know?
Swearing and stuff.
That's how we
I hate
roll.
plumbing.
But you do it.
Yes.
Yes, he does. He's the fixer-upper, man. He fixes everything.
He was fixing something when I got here. Was that what you were talking? That was,
That
makes
damn
sense.
pesky sink again.
I'm surprised he hasn't left this table to go fix something.
I know. He's been antsy. He's like, this is something.
But we also we eventually, as we continue to build the brand on the house hospitality, we want to have this fun thing that we do with our regular guests where we show up and we take care of your tab. It's on the house, and kind of play into the on the house hospitality.
Yeah.
It was also a way for us to create separation of our businesses and the Wandering Tortoise specifically, which a lot of people just are unfamiliar. It's like, well, you're an owner in this and you own these, but then you have a different business partner. And it is also fun to create that separation with the first location, with the Wandering Tortoise, with Shay and I. That's, as Shay likes to refer to it, it's our mom and pop spot. Where with what Tony and I are building, we're building this different brand and this bigger brand of bars and restaurants where we need to operate differently.
Sure.
If it were one, we could operate similar to how we operate the Wandering Tortoise. It's not that much different,
Yeah.
But as we continue to grow, it's kind of like I told you with having kids, right?
Yeah.
You have the one kid or the one business, and you figure shit out quickly, and you have to.
You have to. Yeah.
And hopefully you figure out most of it, and you don't continue to make the mistakes, And that's kind of what we're doing now. We've built this infrastructure, and we're in this almost like plug and play position where it allows us to focus time on being creative.
Yeah,
when we open the new one, we get to be creative and really go back to our roots and create something new and different.
Yeah.
But also within our own businesses, where we're not focusing our time on all the little things. A broken sink here and there, but that's not every week.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my spiel.
That was great, man. That was fantastic.
Thank you. I'll try not to
Second
interrupt
guest
Tony.
today is No, man, that was great because I know even with the episode we did for Tap That, which was one of the most. It was the most unique venue I've ever done a podcast.
I was just talking about that.
Yeah, in your dining room at your table while you were holding your baby. Yeah,
I was there, and
You
we
were there.
tasted some superstition meat afterwards, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we did.
It was very unique.
Scarlett,
Yeah.
Scarlett was itty bitty. That was over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
She's gonna be 3 in January.
Yeah, well, we were trying to make it happen for so long, and I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, if we're in your garage, he's like, I got a baby, you want to sit at the dining room table? I'm like, done, let's do it. But no, well, so Tony, I was going to say everybody's kind of, from that episode, people listen to Tap That kind of knows that story. But I like how you got more in depth in this, right? And where did you come in at? Like, when did you at Fate? I know that's when you kind of you met with him, but
So been in food and beverage since I was 14.
Okay.
I started out as I was bussing at Paradise Bakery up in North
wow.
Scottsdale. Yeah.
Nice.
So doing that, working with friends, I went from there to actually El Paso Barbecue. They had 13 locations in the Valley, catering company. I never thought I would be a part of a barbecue spot again. Going home and I'm like, man, I just smell like barbecue.
Yeah.
Dogs love me, but it's like, I'm like, okay, I didn't think I was going to do that. Going on Macayo's. I worked for some bigger spots like Macayo's and El Paso and stuff, but I worked at a spot called Indulge Burger, which is now Porkopolis on Shea and Scottsdale.
Dude, they had the cheese inside the burger.
Yep. Oh,
See,
yeah.
that's the kind of shit.
You gotta be careful. You burn yourself if you're not ready for that.
The volcanic Vesuviac, it was called, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, it was amazing. And I worked with a lot of family there. My brother, my cousins, but we brought a lot of friends. I met a lot of people. Even my good friend Colton, where I met him there, we lived together. He's actually helping us out on our marketing team now. It's
nice.
Kind of growing, but that kind of mom and pop, small, quaint, family team, was awesome. We had a really good relationship with front of house and back of house back there. That was something that stuck with me for a long time. I want to do that. They ended up closing down in May of 16, I want to say.
Indulge did?
Yep.
Okay.
So they ended up closing down, and I was kind of scrambling. I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do for work. It was kind of like we were blindsided with it. And I'm like, I don't know. My brother was actually working at Oregano's at the time in Old Town. And he's like, dude, I'll put in a word for you. And he got me a job. Him and I got on the job at Macayo's. We went back and forth, and we've always kind of worked with each other. He is actually the head of our marketing right now.
Jim.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he does all of all the photography. He runs all the social media. Him and Colton. He's
Graphic design.
graphic. Yeah. He does a little bit of everything.
They do a great job.
He bartends. He helps with deliveries.
He works bingo night.
Yep. Bingo night. He's doing it all.
You started to get him on those sinks, man.
Yeah. Yes. So
So you start working at Oregano's.
I'm at Oregano's.
Yeah.
I start out as, I can't remember what I did a little bit of everything there as well. But start getting into serving, and I'm like, man, I really want to be a bartender, and I keep kind of pushing, and they kind of went through some transitions of like you could do a little bit of everything, and then they separated, like servers and bartenders weren't allowed to do that anymore, and I was still kind of the new guy at that point, so I had to really prove myself. And I remember sitting in a meeting one day, and Mark Russell, the owner, and like everybody in corporate, and like all the bartenders that are veterans that have been there for years at this time, and I'm like, okay, I gotta like prove myself. And I remember at one point they were like, oh yeah, your backup is technically in second place right now, like, you know what I mean, like you guys need to step it up. And I was like, this is cool, like I want this opportunity. Eventually I get through to that opportunity. I'm bartending. Steve McFade is a regular of mine, so he's coming in, and I'm kind of getting to know him. And I mean, I didn't know a ton about craft beer at that time. I mean, we served like Lagunitas, and we served some Santan and stuff on tap, and I'm like, I enjoy it from time to time, but I was kind of focusing more on cocktails. And Steve at one point's like, hey, like I'd really love for you to come check out. He just had North at the time on Shea and Scottsdale as well. It's funny, I gravitate towards that area. The Macayos I worked at was there. Fate and
now
Indulge
there's a
were
new
all-
Macayos right up there as well.
Yes, yeah. And Indulge, I'm like, it was all right there. I'm
Yeah.
like, but so Steve was a regular of mine, and he's asking me like, hey, like I'd really love for you to come check it out. And I kind of kept putting him off. I'm like, I don't know, like I'm usually pretty loyal to where I'm at. Like I really try to engulf myself in it. And I'm like, all right, I don't know. And then one day I go up there, and I'm like, actually, I think I went with Colton. And we go up there, and he's like, just let you know, come have some beers, have some food, like check it out. I walk in, I'm like, this small, quaint, family style. I mean, I could just tell the minute I walk in, I'm like, I love this spot. And I just had a good time. I was like, absolutely, like I'm coming on board. So
That place had a different vibe. Like it
Oh,
had
yeah.
like completely different vibe. Yeah.
I mean, at regulars, the same guys every day, but I mean, living in the neighborhood had that real neighborhood vibe. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, that I think I was the new guy for like 2 years.
Yeah.
like they didn't hire anyone else. Like, I mean, it's everybody stuck around. It was a good spot to work. Like we truly were a family, and that was a big learning thing for me. Again, it was like incorporating the family feel of yes, and this is what we want to do. So working there for a few years, kind of, and then they eventually had opened where the brewery is now on McDowell and that kind of thing, and transitions and stuff there. And along comes Justin, regular, and he's kind of giving me the same spiel. He's like, hey, like I'm opening this spot, and I'm here. I am again, like, yeah, I don't know.
You got
like,
people
I
trying
don't-
to poach you left and right, man, right?
It's a good feeling
Yeah.
for sure. I was like, but I'm like, man, I really love it here. Like I love this, but I was like getting to know Justin. I was like, I love the vision that you have and the concept that you're trying to do. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I work Tuesday, Thursdays at Tortoise, and then every day for like 8 months, I think, or so. Monday was my only day off, but I was enjoying it. I was like in the hustle and the grind, and I was like, I like being busy. So that was the hectic atmosphere of, but I mean, I was learning so much being at Tortoise with Shay and Justin. It was like, I mean, learning about kind of the back of house operations and kind of how that thing was being built. Like, dude, some of my favorite memories, like just driving down to Pueblo Vita at like 6 a.m. They're like, hey, like, like you want to help come grab some beer? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, we're the only spot that has Pueblo Vita, like this is cool. And just building that nature. And I just knew that I was like, I wanted to eventually do something, but I wasn't sure. But like watching those guys do that, I was like, it was like this reignited this spark of, yes, like I want to be in this industry for sure. I was going to school at the time. I was doing computer information systems at ASU. I had an internship, and just sitting in a cubicle, like nothing wrong with that. It just didn't fit me. It was like, I didn't click with a lot of them. And I was like, I don't know if this is for me. And I eventually I didn't finish getting my bachelor's of science. I got my associates and some stuff, but I kind of jumped off, and my mom was a little upset with that. They were like,
moms
all right,
do,
yeah,
yeah.
they're like, oh man, you're not going to school, like whatever. I was like, I have a good feeling about this. Like I have some stuff that, not seeing the vision. So I'm like, we'll push for that, and continued on. And then he asked me about doing Sleepy Whale, and I was like, absolutely, like I'm all in. And as the rest of that went, here we are.
Here we are. This is spot number. So this is the Silver King is the most recent.
Yes.
The most recent open. And spot number what? 6
Total on the list, yes.
total. Okay.
And
Including
4 for Tony and I.
Yep.
4 for 2. Okay. Gotcha. So it's Tortoise, then another one. And
Hops.
Then 4.
Hops,
Hops. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. And then soon to be opening
Beer Barn.
Beer Barn.
So are you cool if I take the beginning of this?
Yeah, because I was gonna say like this where it started from.
So it's kind of full circle, we were looking at Epicenter and that build out. We looked at an LOI almost 6 years ago. And I lived in a neighborhood at the time before I moved. I lived in Arcadia and Loma Linda for 6 years. But before that, I was living in Lionsgate, which is across from Eggertopia and Joe's Farm Grill.
Okay, yeah.
Never anything to do. I would either go to World of Beer in Santan Village in the mall, which now today is Doghouse, and I frequent.
Yeah.
I always drink Marble Double White. That's the one beer I like over there. They have a lot of great beers.
Sure.
But that's my go-to. Like after a bike ride or the gym, I roll over there, have a beer. But anyway, that was it. Or Gordon Biersch over in the Santan Village.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, shit, I got to go to Phoenix, And I was in my early 20s. Like, I wanted to drive and go to the fun places. Arcadia was it for me,
Yeah.
Now I'm a family man. I'm so happy to be back down in Gilbert. It's awesome. But anyway, like, I love this area. I would really love to open a business down here. Even looked at downtown Gilbert, which today is definitely, it's not our vibe.
The mini Vegas kind of.
Yeah. A lot of badass places down there.
Yeah.
Joe Johnston, Joe's Real Barbecue and Topo are down there. Those are great spots. There's many great spots.
Yeah.
But it's not for us. We like the smaller, quaint feel. But I'm out at Joe's Farm Grill a year and a half, 2 years ago. We signed that lease a year and a half ago.
Yep.
I think we signed it even before we signed this, right?
I believe so. Or like
wild.
Presenting it, yeah.
So I walk past this table, Joe Johnston, Willie Johnston, and some other family.
Johnston's.
Yeah. And some business associates. I'm looking, and I say hi to them. Willie sends me a message on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, are you still interested in working with us?" And we had more of a name to sell at that time because we had Tortoise Hops, Whale, and Theodore going. In the sense of like having this name and kind of proving yourself at that point. So we had a little more value and we could sell ourselves a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I say that because what they've done with Epicenter is kind of hand select these businesses to be in this development, which is on the northwest corner of Ray.
That's right by Air Guitar.
And Higley.
Yep.
So Air Guitar is part of that property. It's the standalone out there.
And it's just next to Agritopia, right?
Yes, and Joe's Farm Grill.
Yep.
And that's my neighborhood again. Undertow is going to be out there. Belly is going to open their second location. Matt's Big Breakfast. Buck and Ryder is going to be out there. But they've kind of hand selected these people that they would like to be in this build out. So then, Willie sparks the conversation, and then here I am with Tony. I'm like, dude, please be on board with this. I really want to do this. I don't think that was a tough sell for him.
That's just such a cool concept, right?
Yeah.
Like, that feel of all of the businesses and everything below, and then you have three stories of residential, and in an area that's booming right now. They're.
So explain that again. So what's the concept of it? You said retail on the bottom and residential on top.
Yep. So your restaurants. You'll have like Bunky's Boutique. You have little boutiques. There's like salons. Peixoto Coffee's going to the gym. Yeah.
Wow.
Gadzooks. There's all sorts of. It's crazy, right? We have Gadzooks and Peixoto, and like they're our neighbors in Chandler, and they're going to be our neighbors in Gilbert. So, but yeah, a lot of that stuff, and then you have the 3-story of residential, really nice high-end apartments above.
I picture like Kierland, right? Like on the one side of Kierland, across from Shake Shack, they have like the Bose store. They have all this, and then there are those luxury apartments above. So kind of that concept.
Yeah, kind of like High Street up in.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
So
Desert Ridge.
So what I was telling. I had lunch with Alistair from Wren House yesterday, and I was telling him, because we had lunch at Joe's Farm Grill, so we were right there. I was kind of giving him a little tour. I was like, yeah, I guess people have done this before, but I think what's different is Joe is continuing to work on this like self-sustainable little community. You know what I mean? Where it's like everything that you could need is right there, but also it's local small business. It's nothing but local small business in there. There's nothing. I mean, Buck and Ryder that's going to be their second lolocation, and LGO is a big company.
Yeah.
But it's still local. You know,
not Boson and Taylor, right?
No, no.
We were just interviewing for a podcast, the people behind air guitar, and you weren't at that one, but I don't know what it's like now, obviously. I figure that takes a while to build out, but it was still just a big wooden shell at that point.
But even open,
still,
man.
You can tell it's a totally different vibe than like Kierland, or because you got Agritopia right next door, which is like, I've never been to a place like that before.
No.
At least on that scale.
Yeah. That's exciting.
It doesn't feel like it's something in Phoenix.
Yeah, this is... We took a photo the other day, but kind of like what it looks like. So that's going to be Beer Barn there in that corner. But yeah, all the residential above, and then...
Yeah, when I went, it was like all plywood and framing slapped together.
It's the upper portion and the apartments are almost done.
Really?
We actually rented an apartment above our space. It's going to be our office space with bunk beds in our room, of course. But we toured the apartment a couple weeks ago, and it's pretty close to being finished.
Yeah.
90 apartments above our building. There's going to be the 3 separate buildings. It's so weird to call it a building. It's this gigantic thing.
That's huge, yeah.
So what is it? What is Beer Barn? Is it beer shop?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it'll similar to Whale and Theodore. So we'll have the retail beer, huge open space for... We'll have a bunch of draft. What are we thinking? 30 taps, probably.
Yeah,
give or take.
Taps, bunch to go.
Yep. Yeah. Justin's gonna run some stuff to people over at the pool. You know, if they want.
Yeah,
beer. So we have that right behind us, which is great. Yeah. And then we so kind of where the space that we're at, we have a breezeway that goes in between, and our patio faces Matt's Big Breakfast, which is cool. And they kind of those buildings kind of replicate each other. Yeah. So it's exciting to see that. We'll right across the way. Yeah, that you have Matt's right there. So.
How far is that from Old Ellsworth?
Miles.
Yeah.
It's probably from Old Ellsworth, 25 minutes still.
Oh, really? Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. The Southeast Valley is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're on like a single lane road that's like you're driving for.
Well, you drive past like a farm and you're like, didn't we just drive past the same farm?
It's not like that anymore.
No, what I meant single lane was like on each side, one on each side. You know.
No, but, it's all 3 lane down there now.
Don't mess up with my memory. Man, that's how I like to remember it.
Dude,
that's how it is.
So the name Beer Barn is a lot of fun. Tony named this location with the feel that we were going for with this. We wanted to go. We wanted to name it an ode to the agricultural background of Southeast Gilbert and to where I grew up in Ohio, small farm town, and we were just kind of going through the names, and Beer Barn just stuck. And that's it. That's all it's going to be. Beer Barn. That's all you need to know.
Not
you know
the
what
Beer
I mean?
Barn or Beer Barn A's, just Beer Barn.
Got rid of the. Can't stop with the with the
Oh,
the. But we're gonna the inside of the space is gonna look like a barn. We're gonna have some private areas that we're gonna build to resemble horse stalls. We're gonna do some wagon wheel lighting, a lot of barnwood in the space. We're trying to do the faux rafters. The garage doors, we're gonna do a brushed white color.
Nice.
On the outside of the building, all red corrugated metal. So what's cool again is, unlike most developers and people who work on these projects where it needs to be uniform, Joe Johnston, with his final approval, is allowing the creativity. So we get to fucking make the outside of our space look like a barn.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
That's really cool.
Think about that real estate and that road view. Bright red corrugated metal. I travel back home or to Iowa. My wife is from Iowa. We vacation in Iowa, of all places, every summer. And I love that stuff. I couldn't wait to get away from it. but it's in my blood. You know,
absolutely, man.
You know
it would
that
be
feeling.
particularly ironic if it didn't allow you to do a barn-based concept right next to Bar None or Barn One,
Barn
whatever
None.
you prefer to call it.
Right? It's going to be such a cool project for us. And what is also cool is Tony and I haven't built, that would be it's past 2 years since we were working on, it's going to be almost 2.5 years since we last worked on a craft beer bar.
Wow.
Because Theodore opened in October of 2019.
Okay.
And our projection is March of 2022, and we're gonna start building any day. We're just, we're in that waiting stage with the city, with our contractors, but I feel like it's really fresh. We're in a good position with all of our other businesses where none of them really need hand-holding, for lack of a better term, at this point, because sometimes they do. You know what I mean? Not everything runs with ease consistently.
Especially that pesky sink.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the sink.
Yeah.
Damn it. That's
Plumbing
why he
is
fixed the sink.
Yeah.
So we don't
I
have
think
to
I
worry
can
about
hear
the
it
sink.
leaking right now.
I saw some water coming out of it. Yeah.
Not until we're done with Beer Barn, it's not getting fixed. So.
Oh my god. Yeah, and we were just talking about that too. When we focus on a space, we focus on it. It's like you guys are capable of running the show elsewhere.
Yeah.
Our operations manager that we work with, Autumn, she's a badass. She oversees all of our locations, including Hops on Birch. And she just, a big thing with bringing her on, was helping with that infrastructure and just building, it sounds so generic, but building the systems, the organization within our businesses, the things that we don't always have time to focus on. But she's like a third partner to us, and she has partnership in each new business that we open, but she really helps run the show. Yeah. She's gonna have to really step it up when we're working on Beer Barn, Autumn.
Right? Yeah.
We're not. You fix it. We're not.
Well, I feel like, it's funny. I feel like, in the time that I've known you, 4 years or so since we did the first Tortoise episode, I feel like every time I've talked to you, you're like, hey, hold on, I got a call from my contractor. Or, hey, I got a call, right? So you're always dealing with contractors. You should start your own contracting business as well.
We talk about that all the time. Handyman services, contractor.
Because I know that's a pain in the ass sometimes, right? Waiting for people, waiting for them to stay on schedule.
I'm waiting for some drywall repair.
Yeah, he's dealing with it right now for his house. Yeah.
Right now is really unique, right?
Yeah.
It really is. Cool story with on the contractor side of things for us. We're working with Rock Rimmon contracting on this job. Rock Rimmon built Tortoise, and they built the expansion, so they built those two spaces, and then they built Sleepy Whale for us. We, being newer still, because that was only 3 spaces, we wanted to explore other options outside of working with them, and we worked with the expensive guys at the Theodore. They got the place open quicker, but it was just kind of stale. You know what I mean? They didn't have that little touch.
Okay.
And then we worked with the other guys on the opposite end, affordability on the Golden Pineapple. But they were new to it as well, and it's like change order. I'm like, well, we thought you guys knew that we needed that for our certificate of occupancy.
It's one of those things where
fantastic
you really
people,
get what you pay for.
Yes.
And you don't quite expect it, but when it all plays out, you definitely get what you pay for.
That's Rock Rimmon. Full circle for us. They do really quality work, and Steve, who's one of the 2 contractors, he just has such a unique eye. Steve I actually met as a regular at the Pig's Meow.
Oh, really?
I met Steve there, met Shay, I met my lawyer Andrew at the Pig's Meow, people that I have relationships with to this date.
Yeah.
That's part of the joy of this industry. We still have regulars that came to Tony up at Fate.
Yeah.
So wild.
That's awesome. Yeah.
People are really loyal. It's crazy.
It helps when you make a good product too, right?
Yeah.
You got to follow through with that, right? We talk about that all the time. Is you have this cool concept and you can do this and that, but if you fall short on the product or the service, right, which are key points of what you guys
Don't
do.
mess up the service.
That's right. Yeah.
The biggest one.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I can see in his face. He's like,
our team is pretty freaking awesome. They miss here and there. It's like, just that's all. If anything, don't forget that. Don't forget the steps of service.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Yeah.
Just say hello.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
Yeah.
You know. And we here and there, I know we're thinking the same thing. It's like, what happened?
Yeah.
How did we miss that? How did you miss that? You know?
Yeah.
You know how it is. You don't want to go into a bar or restaurant and not be greeted or treated like shit. You know,
Right.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Why are you? What are you?
I feel
What are you
like I'm
doing?
hassling him. I'm like, sorry, should I go?
Yeah. Right. I mean, because at the end of the day, if that's bad, you're going to remember that more than like, oh, like my sandwich was okay, or like, you know, their beer was meh. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I have a really good experience, even if their product isn't that awesome. And I'm like, I'll give them another chance because that can get better. But if your service is great, it's like, I want to come back and see these people. It was a great vibe. It was.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Hey.
somebody makes you mad.
You guys are doing it. You guys are doing good work. Awesome stuff. Anything else you guys want to share before we wrap it up? Any other places you just bought this week that you want to tell us about?
We're definitely looking at spots.
Yeah,
so.
we're looking in the Queen Creek area.
Okay,
We've
nice.
we've looked a little bit, as you guys know, Buckeye, Goodyear. We've always thought about the West Valley, and it's expansive.
Yeah.
Goodyear and Buckeye are not like the Northwest Valley. You know what I mean? That's really different.
Yeah.
And they're still 30 minutes away from each other, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I think we'd like to do more barbecue because our barbecue's great.
that.
Chef
Yeah.
Dell is really talented. Who thought you could be a barbecue snob? What is that?
I'm discovering more and more about barbecue, and they're pretty up there with the beer guys. Like
It's no joke.
yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
listened to Dell describe, our offset barrel smoker and his smoking process, the time that he puts into it. He's like, it's a really complicated process. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep.
And it's amazing. I didn't know what a smoke ring was on brisket. What is that?
It's amazing, is what it is.
And
yeah.
I also,
Yes, it is.
I didn't know how much barbecue is not good out there. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I try barbecue and it's good, but it's hard. It's hard to perfect and make some quality barbecue. But
We've
Dell,
served- been
to be able-
spoiled.
yeah, like I can do it at home. Like I can be like, all right, I can set the smoker and pay attention to this for me and my friends and family to have on Saturday night. When you're running through, like that's a whole different ball game. When you're making a business out of it, right?
it's wild.
Yeah.
You have to sell out. That's the goal because there's a time frame on that meat.
Yeah.
That day.
But yeah, we definitely, I think we want to do more barbecue. I've been pitching this idea to Tony, and I think, we're kind of, usually what happens is one of us will pitch something to the other, and we kind of we develop this theory of this concept together, which is a lot of fun. But having kids and, bringing the kids into the beer bars or the restaurants, I really want to focus on more family, dog-friendly locations, bigger places. I think the dream for us would just to get a big piece of land. Are you guys familiar with Queen Creek Olive Mill?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a dream.
Yeah.
Or even
Yeah.
Joe's Farm Grill. Joe's Farm,
Sure.
that's a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
But having a place like that, where we can serve some quality food and beverage and have a fun place for families,
Yeah.
A lot.
Santan Flats, yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Oh,
little space. It's cool.
that's going to be in my neighborhood.
That's on the docket. Finding something like that. I like it.
Santan Flat is. Have you guys been out there?
I've not been there. I've seen pictures, but I haven't been there myself.
It's a drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's way out there. Not for me, for
Yeah.
you guys for sure.
Right, yeah.
But it's a gigantic property with this patio out back. It's this dirt patio with probably 60 tables out back. It's huge. It's a country western bar.
Yeah.
And they have their standalone buildings, their private dining buildings. They have a smoker out there, and it just backs up right to the Santan Regional Park.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a cool vibe.
So something like that. Something. I
Yeah, we
that.
like all that stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep it going.
Multi-use
Excellent.
space. For
Yes,
sure.
yes.
That's the goal.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I know you guys got things to do. I think I got kids to pick up from the bus here soon, so I need another cocktail.
Hello.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much. Like I said, this was long overdue, so glad we finally got it.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
awesome.
you.